Alrighty, welcome to the physician pharmacist course on how to get into medical school. In this course, we're going to cover a lot of important details that address little caveats on, optimizing your medical school application. The process is getting more complicated year over year, and it's also getting harder and harder to get in. So, this course should hopefully help, especially non traditional applicants, navigate the medical school application process and to hopefully lead to a successful outcome in the end. So, a little bit about me. So, I am actually a pharmacist by training, and I created the Physician Pharmacist website and platform to kind of help other non traditional students like myself navigate the medical school process. So, I wrote a book originally called PharmD to MD that kind of documented my experience over the course of applying to medical school while in pharmacy school. Since then, I created the Physician Pharmacist website, which you can see on the screen, and have made a whole bunch of other resources like general surgery note taking. The book is available on Audible. I have a blog. I have connections with the Student Doctor Network. I also am the host of a pharmacy podcast, the Physician Pharmacist podcast, that is put on with the Pharmacy Podcast Network, which is one of the largest podcast networks in the country. So I guess that's a little bit about my background, and you can check out all these resources yourself online to get to know me a little bit better. But what you want to know, obviously, is what's in this course. And so a whole bunch of information here, but I just want to make sure we cover everything. So we'll have a little introduction video following this that will kind of cover the reasons why you should take this course, and we'll kind of lay out some of the important features of applying to medical school. We'll cover some definitions. I think that's always important to just kind of set the foundation and figure out what the terminology all means, because there is quite a bit of it. We'll also kind of cover some details of how hard is medical school itself, how hard is it to get into the program, and we'll give you some numbers and some real time metrics to kind of put some numeric value to that. We'll kind of cover the anatomy of the medical school application, so all the different details and components that go into getting into medical school. We'll show you how to make an AAMC account. We'll cover the MCAT, the primary application, which is AMCAS for allopathic meaning MD, and ACOMAS, which is osteopathic for DO designation. So we'll kind of go through the entire MCAS itself and follow step by step how to apply and little tips and tricks to make sure that you maximize your chances of getting in. We'll cover letters of recommendation, secondary applications, which are exactly as they sound. They're basically follow up to the primary. The CASPER exam and ALTIS suite, which are newer components to the application process, but it's essentially like an ethics exam, and there's a few other things that go into that. Interviewing principles, how to excel in a medical interview. And we'll also cover like the post-interview no man's land, as I like to call it, which is that limbo area in between submitting your application and then kind of waiting for interviews to trickle in and waiting for acceptances and all of that stuff to fall into place. And then lastly, we'll talk a little bit about some of the logistics with getting an acceptance, as well as some other components to it. This course focuses primarily on pharmacy so a lot of the resources I talk about will kind of reference pharmacy-based practices like API rotations and stuff along those lines. So for non-traditionals who aren't in the pharmacy world, you can kind of skip over some of that material as it might not be as relevant. For just traditional students who are in like a pre-med course, of course, I always recommend that you would follow your mentors and instruction from the university that you attend. But this, of course, can also be beneficial because we can cover some of the caveats that they might not be able to say on in a formal university setting. So I'd like to thank you again for joining me on this course, and I hope you have the best outcome possible.